Hey guys, and welcome to the fourth video in my Pygame Tetris series. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys a few different things. So in the last video, I mentioned I was going to be doing more cosmetic stuff. So that is true in this video. I'm going to be showing you how to do the main menu screen, how to draw text in the middle of the screen, how to make things look a little bit better. And I'm also going to be adding a little bit of functionality to the game in terms of making the piece fall faster as it moves or as time moves forward. So obviously we want the game to get more difficult as time goes on. So what we're going to do that is increase the speed at which the piece falls down the screen. It's pretty easy. I'll show you how to do that. I'm going to be adding score and we're going to be displaying that score. And that's probably about it for this game. So the first thing I want to show you is how to add the piece falling faster. So to do this, we need to create a variable in our main here. And I'm just going to make this equal to, what do we want to say? Fall, or let's say level underscore time, okay? And this is going to just represent how much time has passed, and it's going to be similar to fall time, and level is just because as we increase speed, like the level is going up, kind of whatever, okay? So say level time plus equals clock dot get underscore raw time, and we're going to do exactly what we did with making the piece move down the screen, except we're just going to change the speed at which it moves down the screen. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make another if statement. I'm simply going to say if level underscore time divided by 1,000 is greater than, and then you can put in whatever time you want here. Now I'm going to do 5 seconds. So every 5 seconds we increase the speed, okay? And then we can decide what we want to increase the speed by. So I'm going to say level underscore time. We need to first reset this back to 0 so that we continue to do this. And then what I'm going to actually do here is I'm going to say if level underscore time is greater than, and we want to put like a terminal velocity here. So at what speed do we stop increasing the time? Because we can't get to a negative fall speed, otherwise you're just going to instantly fall. And we don't want it to get too fast that the game's unplayable, so we need to pick a speed. Now a good speed that I kind of found was 0.12, because anything faster than that is like pretty fast. But I mean, you guys can play with that and change that around. It's a really easy number just to fix, right? And then if we're greater than that, we're just simply going to subtract a value from level underscore time. Now this value, the magnitude, so the size of this value that you're subtracting, is going to determine like how quickly you increase the speed, as well as obviously the time. So I put originally 0.01. And I mean, depending on how long it takes you to play a Tetris game, this is pretty fast, because that means after 50 seconds, you're already going to be down to 0.17, which is very quick and almost at terminal velocity. So I recommend you do 0.005. That means it'll take about a minute and 40 seconds before you're going to be close to reaching this terminal velocity, which might be good if you're playing Tetris for a decent amount of time. Okay, so you guys can play with those numbers, but that is going to move it down faster. I would show you, but it's going to take like a decent amount of time for it to continue moving faster, so just play with that, okay? Just trust me. All right, the next thing we want to do is add score. So we need to first create a score variable. I'm going to say score is equal to 0, like that. And incrementing score is pretty simple. I'm going to say, and you guys can make this whatever you want, whenever we clear a row, I'm going to add 10 to our score, because you had 10 pieces or 10 cubes or whatever that you cleared, okay? So actually, the way that we need to do this is we're going to return a value from clear rows, which is going to be equal to score. Now I'm going to go to clear rows, and in here, I'm simply just going to return INC, okay? And INC is the increment, so how many rows that we actually ended up clearing. So if we clear more than one row, we're going to get a value of 2. We can multiply that by whatever our score increment's going to be. And then, yeah, we can just add that to the score. So this is pretty straightforward. If we go to clear rows, we're going to say score is equal to clear rows multiplied by 10, all right? Or actually not equal to, we're going to have to say plus equal to clear rows plus 10. Now what we need to do is we need to display this score on the screen somewhere where the user can see it. And we're actually going to save this score as well when we lose the game. Okay, so the way that we can display this is we're going to have to do it in draw window, but we're going to have to pass this score to draw window. So after our grid object, we're going to pass score like that, and we're going to go to draw window, and we're simply going to add another parameter here, score, like that. Now I'm just going to set it equal to 0 as a default parameter. So in case we call it somewhere else and we forget to add that score, that's fine. We don't need that. So what I'm going to do now is I'm actually going to go to draw next shape, and at draw next shape, you can see if I run the program quickly here, it shows us like a little text object, okay? Now I want to get this similar text object. So I'm just going to copy this font, the label SX, SY, and I'm just going to bring it down here into draw window. Now it doesn't really matter where you draw it. I'm just going to plop it in the middle here. And obviously I'm going to change this from next shape to be score. Now we need to obviously display what the actual score is. So we can just say plus str score like that. And that should be displaying for us. Okay, so now we have SX and SY, which is giving us the play area, I believe. Or no, this is actually the position in which we wanted to draw it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to say now win dot blit, or is it surface dot blit, our text object, which is the label. And then where do we want to draw it? So we want to draw SX, SY. Now I'm just going to have a look up here to see where I did it here. So SX plus 10, SY minus 30. So what I might want to do is we can add plus 10 to this, so it's aligned, but then we're going to subtract, or actually add to the Y so it's lower. So I'm going to add, let's say like 80, like that. So let's test this out and see if it's working. Score, so it's not low enough. So we'll add this, do 120, and see where we're getting it now. Score, again, not low enough. Let's go 160. And again, you guys can play with these numbers. Score equals 0, perfect. And then maybe we'll just add 10 more pixels here so it's more in the center. And, you know, whatever, that's good enough for me. Okay, good. So that is working well. So we've got the score and we're moving down faster. Now what else do we need to do? What we need to do now is work in main menu and figure out what happens when we actually lose the game. So we have this check lost, and all this simply does is just quit the game for us when that happens. But we want to do something else when we lose, and we want to display something to the screen. So actually, before I go in main menu, I'm going to go up here to a function that I told you guys, oh, I need to get rid of that I was going to finish, which is draw text in middle. Now this is going to take a surface text, and what else do we want? Let's say size and color. Okay, so surface text size color. This way you can use this in another function, or sorry, in another program, and you can use it multiple times with whatever text size and color you want. So we're going to set up a font. We're going to say font equals pygame dot font dot sys font. By now you probably know this. I'm just going to pick Comic Sans. We're going to make it equal to size, and bold is going to be equal to true. Now you can make this false if you want, or just omit it completely and then it won't make it bold. Pretty straightforward. Make a label. Label is equal to, again, font.render. And then we're going to say text, 1 for anti-aliasing, and color, like this. Okay, now we'll just simply draw this in the middle of the screen. So to do this, we'll say surface.blit, label, comma, and now we're just going to do a little bit of math here. So top underscore left underscore x plus play underscore width divided by 2, not 3, minus, and we're going to get the label width. And the way we do this, I don't believe I've actually done this yet, is get underscore width. I think I'm just going to check. Yeah, get width. And then the reason I have this in brackets because I'm going to divide this by 2 as well. And this will essentially give us the middle position where we should be drawing in terms of x coordinate. Okay, so now I'm going to give top underscore left y plus play underscore height divided by 2. Okay, and now same thing, minus label dot get underscore height in brackets and divided by 2. I don't know why I can't tab over here. Okay, divided by 2, and that should hopefully be working for us. Okay, so we can test that out in just a second. So we've got this, it's blitting now whatever text we want to the screen, so this makes it really easy for us to draw anything to the middle of the screen. So the first thing I want to draw to the middle of the screen is like a you lost message. So when it says you lost, what I want to do is draw, obviously, you lost, and tell them that. So let's say draw text middle, and then what do we want to draw? Well, let's simply draw what surface first actually that we need. So we'll say win, and then we're going to pass it text, and in this case we're going to say you lost, exclamation point. Size, let's go for 80, and color, let's go white. And obviously you guys can play around with that. Now after I draw that and I display the screen, or update the screen, pygame.display.update, just because we haven't called the window yet, draw window, when we do this, Then what we're going to do is we're just going to delay. So we're going to say pygame.time.delay, and I'm just going to delay 1.5 seconds, just so once this comes up, the user has a second to look at it, because then we're going to move back into our main menu screen, which you'll see. Okay, so I'm just going to fast forward this until I lose, and then you guys can see that it's working. And there we go. So we got you lost, and then it delayed, and then just quit because I have this pygame.display.quit here, okay? So now what we're going to move to is main menu. Everything else is working. I told you guys it's not like super difficult, a lot of this stuff. And in main menu, what we're going to do now is we're just going to make it pop up whenever you start the game and whenever you lose. And it's just going to say hit any key to like move forward, to continue, okay? So I'm just going to need to set up another game loop in here. So we're going to say run equals true. While run, and this is going to be really similar to the loop we've done above, it's just a lot shorter. We're going to just draw in here without using a different function, just because we're not drawing very much, so it's not important that we, like update the screen with a defined function. So I'm just going to fill it with black, just so we kind of are getting rid of everything. We're going to draw text middle, and what I'm going to do here is I'm going to say press any key to play, okay? And then we'll give this a size of 60 and a color of white once again. Okay, so that's being drawn in the middle. We'll update the display, so pygame.display.update, like that. And then we're going to say for event in pygame.event.get, so similar to what we've already typed up top, we're going to say if event.type equals pygame.quit. We always want one of these, not quit queue. Then we are simply going to say run is equal to false, and then we can tab out here and we can just make sure that we are actually quitting the display, so .quit, and we'll get rid of this pygame.display.quit. And then we're going to add one more event, and this event is going to be a key down, so whenever they press any key on the keyboard, then that is going to move us forward, and we're simply going to call this main function where we'll play, and I'll explain how this kind of flows in just a second because it's really nice. Okay, so if event.type equals pygame dot all capitals key down, so if they hit any key, then what we're going to do is we're going to say main, like that. Okay, and I believe that is about it. Okay, yeah, so let's see here. Pygame.display.quit looks correct. Okay, so the way this is going to work pretty much is when we run the game, we start by running main menu. So we run main menu, and then we go into this main loop where all it's going to do is just say press any key to play, and that's going to be drawn in the middle of the screen. Once that happens, we're going to check if they're hitting any key. If they hit any key, we're going to call main. In which case, sorry, let me close this so it's easier to see. If we hit main, then we go into the main game loop, and we go and we do this loop until eventually we lose. Once we lose, it displays you lost on the screen, makes this loop equal to false, which means it brings us back into this main menu loop, and we can play again by hitting any key. Pretty straightforward. Okay, so let's test this out and make sure this is working. Draw text missing one potential argument color. It's because I didn't give a surface, my bad. So let's just do win, and there we go. Okay, so press any key to play, press space, missing one main. Okay, sorry guys, and this is why we test our program. Okay, win, and now let's try. There we go, and now we're playing. It shows the score, and you guys can mess around with this. I haven't actually tested the score, so I'll just do this really quickly and see if I can clear a row without having to fast forward, which we may be able to do. Not using that one. Okay, let's see. There we go, and score is equal to 10. So the score system's working as well, and that's a relief because I hadn't even tested that before I put this in the video. Okay, perfect. Oh, when you press the X, brings you to press any key to play. If you press it again, you can do that. So if we wanted to change it, so when you hit the X key in the main thing and you want to close the game, then in the main loop here, sorry, what you're going to do instead of saying run equals false, just do pygame.display.quit. So you can do both. You can say run equals false, and then you can quit the display as well. Okay, so what's next? So I said we were going to save the score and potentially display that. So if we want to save the score, we're going to have to do something when we lose. So we're going to have to update like the current score, and we're going to use a text file to do this so that you can play multiple times. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to say new file, just create a new text file. I'm just going to call this scores.txt. Okay, and in here, I'm just going to put 0 as a default value. It's really important you put a default value to start, otherwise you might run into some issues. So just create a new text file, make sure it's in your directory with the main with the script, okay? Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another function. It doesn't really matter where it goes. I'm going to say define update underscore score, and we're just going to give it score, okay? Now in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to say with open, and this is how we're going to open our text file and like update the display with open scores.txt in R, so in read mode, and this actually needs to be in quotation marks as well. We are going to say do this as f, sorry, and I say f dot read lines like this, okay, and that'll be equal to lines is equal to f dot read lines. So that means our score is going to be, well, the first line, so score is equal to lines 0, and we're just going to add this dot strip so that we remove any like \ns, because if you don't know, in a text file, when you hit the next line, the way that it actually tracks that you have another line is it puts a character that looks like this on the line. It's invisible to you in the text file when you're viewing it, but when you read it in with code, you actually read in this character. So we just want to make sure we strip that off in case it is there. We're going to say score equals this, and then we'll just say, okay, so we've done that. And since we're tabbing out now, it's going to automatically close our file. What we're going to do now is we are going to open the file again, except in this time we're going to open it in write mode, which means we're going to overwrite whatever is in the file. And we're simply going to say if score is, I guess I'm going to change this to n score, standing for new score. If score is greater than n score, then we'll say f dot, and we'll say write lines, actually write, I think, and we'll simply put in str of score, which is this updated score. Otherwise, so if that's not true, we just have to write back the other score because we're clearing it when we open this with W mode, okay? So we're going to say f.write, and then, or sorry, this is going to be, what am I doing? N score. Yeah, sorry, so I kind of messed up in this way. It should be the other way around, but whatever. We're just checking if the original score is greater than the new score. If it is, we'll write the original score. Otherwise, we'll write the new score. So this works still, it's just not the way that I was thinking about it when I was kind of talking about that. Okay, so update score should work. And then, you know what, we can actually return, let's just return, actually, no, we don't need to return anything. So I haven't pre-written this yet, so I'm kind of still just going through how I want it to work. Okay, what we'll do here, after we set run equal to false, we'll say update score, and we'll give it whatever the current score is. And then this should be working in the scores.txt file. So let's run this. I'll fast forward through and make sure everything's working. Okay, so we got an error. Not supported between instances of string and int. Okay, so if score greater than n score. So we just mean we have to convert this to an int. So if we go back up to score, and where did I make this? Okay, score is going to be int score, like that. Okay, and that should hopefully work because n score comes in as an int. And we'll run it one more time, one more fast forward. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, and another issue, lines 0, list index out of range. Okay, I'm gonna have a look at this and come back. Okay, so this code is actually working just fine. The issue was that since the last time when it crashed, we didn't end up writing anything into the file. So we had a blank file, and then we were going lines 0, where is it here? And obviously there was no line 0, so that crashed. But if you just add any number, so if I add 0 back in here to scores.txt and save it, then this works fine. Okay, so that's it for saving scores. Now we need to display those saved scores. So I'm kind of going to leave this up to you guys where you want to display it. I don't really know where I want to put my saved score, like high score, maybe on the left side of the screen. Doesn't really matter. So if I want to draw it on the left side of the screen, then I can do something like, we're going to have to first get this max score, right? So I'm going to have to make a new function called define max score, or last score, whatever you want to call it. And if you call max score, what we're going to do is we're just going to do the exact same thing we did here. So we can say with open scores.txt, score 0 equals line 0.strip, except in this time we're going to return score, like that. Okay. Now what we can actually do here too is we could just simply replace this whole line with max score and just say score equals max score. Be the efficient way to do it. And I mean, feel free to do that if you want, or leave it the other way. Okay, so now we have something that's getting us max score. So how are we going to use this? Well, when we call main, I guess when we call main, or we can call main menu. Does it, like, you guys, if you want to draw it in the main menu, you can do that. Otherwise, just draw it in the main. To draw it in the main, all you're going to do is going to say like last score is equal to max score, which is going to be whatever is stored in that text file. And then to draw this, well, we're going to have to pass this again into when we're redrawing the window. So in draw window, I'm just going to say last score. We can go up to draw window again. We'll say last underscore score equals 0. And you're pretty much just going to copy exactly what we have here with this font and this blit. So let me just comment this and say this is current score, just so I can remember. I'm going to add a comment, say last score, high score, whatever you want to say here. And then we can just say score, and we can actually get rid of this font because we already defined it. We'll say high score equals, and in this case, last underscore score. Okay, draw that to the screen. This is probably not where you want to draw it. You probably want to draw it top left X minus like some value, like minus 30, top left Y, maybe plus, I don't know, like 300 or something. So now we can see where this is actually going to draw if we check this out. So let's run this, press any key. So it's not obviously showing up where we want to. So we're gonna have to subtract more from this. So let's subtract like, I don't know, 100. And then this was plus too much. Let's do plus 200. And high score. So again, like you gotta move it over more. So we'll move over 200 this time and hopefully this works. Okay, so high score 0, score 0. And that's obviously because at the current moment we have no, our score is just 0 in that text file. Okay, so I think that is pretty much it for this video. If you guys have any questions, any errors, anything that I did in this video that you weren't sure about, leave a comment down below. I'll be sure to get back to you. Also, quick side note here, I do have a Discord server. I forgot to talk about it since I released like a channel update thing, but if you guys want to join that, I help out a lot of people. You can chat with me. It's a cool kind of community. There's a link in the description, completely free. And also, if you guys enjoyed the video and you want to support the channel and more than just liking and subscribing, I do have a Patreon account, and I would really appreciate any donations that come from that. Anyways, that's been it for this video. If you guys enjoyed, please make sure you leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you again in another tutorial.